Professor Dershowitz, a pleasure. We're also going to get into Boulder, Colorado, and the terror that we saw there. But just your reaction. It's important to note, too, that the mayor of Newark is also running in an election, and some polls have opened now the day he's filed the lawsuit. So we get the headlines, we get the flash, but is this lawsuit anything of substance?
No, it's a frivolous lawsuit designed to make political points. He's the villain here. He engaged in what appears to be illegal conduct, and he and others, and they have to pay the consequences for it. Some of the people that he's suing probably have immunity from some of the acts he's suing them for, but this is not a lawsuit designed to win. It's a lawsuit designed to attract attention and to deflect attention from the wrongness of what he did. The United States government has a perfect right to have ICE facilities that are used to detain people who are here unlawfully, and the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey has the right to protect those facilities, and that's what it appears she's done. So I don't think this is going anywhere except in the media.
And the charges against him were dropped a few days later, but the charges against Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, also seen in that video, are still very much in play. So we will watch that, and as you mentioned, maybe a deflection to try and cast away from some of the other more serious issues that are happening when it comes to illegals in our nation. One of them, an Egyptian-born illegal immigrant, is now the suspect of this terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Innocent members in Boulder, a Holocaust survivor. Horrifying to watch this, to hear of the charges. Professor Dershowitz, according to authorities, he said he has no regrets, wanted them all to die. Now, you and I were just talking a few days ago after two innocent Israelis who worked for the embassy were gunned down on the streets of D.C. How much more are we going to see? You've had to get security for your own personal safety. This is a state of play in America that is just appalling on so many levels, but yet doesn't seem to be slowing down, and there's huge concerns about that.
Right, and that's what I write about in my book, The Preventive State. We need to develop techniques to prevent predictable violence. Now, this is entirely predictable. When you have people at Harvard and at Columbia shoving and breaking property and holding people hostage, janitors being held hostage, the next step from there to getting a gun or getting Molotov cocktails and murdering people is a thin one. And we can accurately now predict that there will be more actions of this kind against Jews, against Israelis, against Christian supporters of Israel. So we have to be on our guard, and we have to take preventive measures. The thesis of my book is that we now have the technology to do a much better job in preventing a lot of these violent abuses, but we have to do it within the constraints of civil liberties and the Constitution. And I think we can do that. We have red flag laws on the books. You can extend the red flag laws beyond guns and extend it to people who threaten, not necessarily with guns, but as this person did with Molotov cocktails, with any kinds of weapons. And you know, this is a guy who's been planning this for a year, and there have to be preventive mechanisms that we can put in place.
And he was here illegally, overstaying a visa, and according to authorities, he said he had tried to get a gun, but he knew he was illegal, he couldn't get it, but he still found another way.
Well, it's amazing he didn't get a gun, because so many illegals get guns. And remember, too, the deportation is one of the primary preventive mechanisms that I discuss in my book. It goes back to biblical times. We called it exile back then, but every society from the beginning of time has always tried to rid itself of people who they reasonably believe pose a danger to their society. Every country, every society has the right to determine who its members are. And that's why the courts will eventually uphold President Trump in his efforts to prevent violent students from coming into the country and violent people from remaining in the country. He's going to win those cases, although he may lose a few battles along the way, particularly by district judges who are selected and picked by the litigants.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.